Mr. Men and Little Miss are back in Happy Meal and they're off on a road trip. Your little one can go somewhere exciting with Little Miss Brave, laugh all the way there with Mr. Tickle, or make up an adventure all of their own. On this road trip, anything's possible. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 8th of June from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last, subject to availability.
You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense.
Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for all ages from 2 and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and this week, listeners, this week please give it a break. This week, listeners, the farting animals are farting more than normal. If you're a newer listener to this show, you might not know that over the years, many of you have been sending in a variety of farting animals, which, I mean, I've not really wanted them, but you've sent them in anyway. So I've been putting them on the mantelpiece and I've been looking after them and feeding them beans. Mostly beans. And I mean, I've got quite a good collection at the moment. Over there's a farting yak. There's a farting eagle. There's a farting anteater. A farting duck-billed platypus. A farting sloth. And at one point, I even sort of thought maybe I'll open this up as a zoo, as a sort of farting animal zoo. But the first few visitors came and their reviews were, "Oh goodness, why does it smell so bad? The smell made my eyes water and made me sick down my own trousers. And why would you do this? Why?" So I had to close it. However, it's all gone a bit too far this week, hasn't it, Linda? Linda. Where is Linda? Who is Linda? I'm not sure why they're farting so much. Is it because, animals, I gave you chickpeas instead of beans last Wednesday? Well, let me tell you, listeners, I'm not going to be deterred by the background noise to the podcast this week. I will try my best to read all of this week's mailbag. Okay, this is from Izzy, or is it? Izzy? Is it? Because Izzy says, or is it says, "Hello, I am Linda, and I make your coffees out of old socks. To find me, you have to go to Neptune, find the thingamabob, then go to Australia and sing the British national anthem. Then I will come. Bye." Oh, okay, Izzy, but if you're Linda instead, and you are that Linda, and you make my coffees out of old socks, then maybe I'm glad you've not made me a coffee or turned up once in 7 years. I don't want old sock coffee. But, okay, if you are also Linda, I do need to find you, and I guess I have to go to Neptune first and then Australia, and remember the national anthem. Although I suppose it means the flight to Australia won't seem that long after I've travelled for 12 years to Neptune. I'm going to think about it. Then there is this from Marty in the UK who says, "The most importantest question. I'm Marty and I think the word please shouldn't be used for sentences. It just makes sentences longer and less efficient, and I personally think it's a waste of time. Good podcast. Please keep making more episodes. I've listened to almost every episode. I'm not sure by the time you see this I would have listened to each episode or not." Whoa, Marty. So we shouldn't say please anymore. Do you know what? I guess if everyone was just polite all the time anyway, maybe we could drop it because you don't have to. What else, though, would we use to rhyme with the word sneeze? Oh, no, wait, sorry, no, we've got knees. You're right, Marty. And you know what? I don't think you have heard every episode yet because there's this one. Oh, wait, you've heard this now. You win. All right. Stop it. And Super Sharky G in New Zealand says, "Hello, I am 67 Sigma Shark years old and I really times infinity sign want you to bring back 'What is this?' as part of the admin, please and thank you." Hey, Super Sharky G, what is this? Joke. I now have all of our excellent guests booked until summer, and they have already received that they will be getting a Would You Rather. So I will change up the question from the autumn, I promise. And rest of you listeners, is there anything that you want to hear again that we used to do on the show but we don't anymore? No, not that. I mean, if there's bits you miss or bits you're bored of and want me to change, or you just want to hear something different. No, something different, not more farts. Or listeners, you might want to send in anything else at all, and in which case, please get your nearest old February face. Sorry, I mean grown-ups. So email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Or, comment on the Spotify Q&A, or give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. Or send an owl. Not a farting owl. Stop it. I need to find out why they're just so farty. And while I do that, you listen to this most important bit. Listeners, I can't believe it, but my guest today on Radio Nonsense is the amazing Paul Goodenough, world famous for actually being able to play the world's smallest violin and doing it all over the world whenever someone complains. Paul, it is a delight to have you here. How are you?
It's wonderful to be here, and yes, I'm just so happy to be able to share my wonderfully tiny violin skills with you and your listeners.
I'm really impressed, and what I like, and I understood why it was tricky to say that, and because you are somehow balancing it between your two fingers, and I'd worry about dropping it all the time.
Well, the thing is, when you've got small fingers like I've got, and you've got the world's smallest violin, you're doubly compounded. It's a very, very hard thing to do, but I'm going to give everything I can to give you what you need.
Thank you very much. I do hope... I try not to complain on this show because I think I'm very lucky to have guests like yourself and obviously to be here. I'm worried that if any complaints come out, will it get played for me, or is there a way I can avoid it?
Well, we'll just have to see what happens. The world's a crazy place. Things happen with no rhyme or reason, and then suddenly you can get interrupted by
It's little shivers down because I know that you're very famous for somebody will be just going, oh, I can't believe the bus is 30 seconds late. And suddenly you're there and they haven't seen you approach, but they can hear the violin and you've just got this ability. It's incredible.
And what people don't recognize is how much my life is just lurking, just sitting around the corner, just waiting for those moments I can just bust out in my tiny violin.
It's a very impressive, that is a ninja-like skill because I think, and I should say that I haven't tried lurking often. It's not something I've really spent time doing, but it's not easy.
Lurking's brilliant. The only thing is you really need good hamstrings. So if you ever see footballers and rugby players, you often see these really, really big hamstrings. They've got nothing on a good lurker. We have the strongest hamstrings known to mankind. They're like bowling balls below our thighs.
And is that because you have to do a specific sort of squat, like when you're lurking, you've got to duck behind hedges and walls and things like that?
Absolutely. And you've probably seen, because you and I are of a certain age, back in the day you'd have cartoons which always have like the bad guy lurking on tiptoes. You'd have the dun 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 dun. That really builds your quads. That's PT.
Amazing. That's incredible. And it's now that you're saying this, I feel sad that I often see these kind of like promo exercises, but this is the way to build your bicep, this is the way to get super glutes, and which is just their way of saying big butts, right? They should always go, this is how to get big butts, and they never say try lurking, right? And I feel like that's where they're going wrong, because I'd be much more interested if they're like, why don't you just creep around and shout boo? And that would be, I'd be much more up for exercising.
It is, mate. And all I'll say, you just feel good about yourself. When you're doing these bad things, you're lurking, just waiting to ruin someone's day. It just gives you that nice warm feeling inside where your heart should be.
Yes, I like that. That's fantastic. Have you got any... I wondered if there's any types of complaints that are your favourite to play the violin to. Are there certain people you like to lurk up on? Because... I don't know. I get really annoyed with I get annoyed with people complaining about the weather all the time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Weather complainers. They're one of my absolute favourites, because you get those wonderful things where, being British, they love the weather. They love to moan about the weather. I'm like, well, you are just perfect foil for me. The violin comes out, and off you go. That's wonderful. Everyone gets something.
Yeah. No, I can see that. And I think, what a giving person you are, Paul. And I really appreciate that. And I think it's not an easy job to undertake. I think there's a lot of people that would be worried about how much time it does. You don't really get weekends and evenings, do you?
No, but over the years, I don't know if you followed much of my career, but when I first started out, of course, I was the Lure Prince. Then I went up in the royalty scale, and eventually I've now got to Lure King, and that's I'm really happy to get that crown. and be able to actually officially call myself the Lure King.
Do you know, Paul? It's interesting you said, because I had not, and maybe this is on my education, I guess. I hadn't realised that the Lure King was a title. You were the Lure Prince. So does this make me? Hang on, am I like a Lure peasant? Am I a Lure peon?
Pauper, we say.
A Lure pauper. Oh, that's
yeah.
I'm quite sad about
basically
that.
it works through the P's backwards through the alphabet until you get all the way back to K, and that's when you get the Lure King.
Right, so all the way. Oh, I see. So right at the beginning, what's the worst kind of lurker you could be? Is like a lure
Pauper. You are the worst. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I am the
Bottom
worst.
of the pile. Yeah, pauper. Then you go to an oscillator, which goes before that, and then you go to a ninja, which is you're getting better. Then an oscillator up and down. They're sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and that's because they haven't got the hamstrings. Because the hamstrings are what keeps you low, and that's why being a good lurk king, you have to basically work down lower and lower, and you work your hamstrings up, and that's when you reach true lure king status.
It's so much about the hamstrings, but it's interesting. You play strings on the violin. You've got strong hamstrings. You're just a guy that's good at strings, right?
Yeah, there's very few strings to my bows, but the ones I have are muscly and
they are really strong bow strings.
Yeah, really strong.
That is impressive. Have you thought about puppets? I think you'd be really good at puppets.
I spent too much time thinking about puppets, but we won't speak about that anymore.
Wow. Okay. That's wow. I don't want to. That feels
that box.
Yeah.
That small box on the stage remains closed.
I get that, and also I fear the power of someone who can lurk and then suddenly make a puppet appear out of nowhere. Like that's terrifying.
Well, you probably know the community between lurkers and puppeteers. We are not friends.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Well, because you probably recognise, of course, being a puppeteer, you spend a lot of your time on your haunches, and being on your haunches is not the same muscles as the lurkers use. They get really strong quads because it's all in the front of the leg.
Right, I see. Okay, right. Paul, I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt. I don't really know what a haunch is. I love the word. I feel like I could say the word haunch repeatedly throughout the day, but I don't. What is a haunch?
So when you're going down close to the ground and you've bent your knees and you have your legs spread far apart like a frog. If you imagine a frog basically holding it by its head, not that you ever would, but if you could, and then you put something underneath its feet and you push his feet up and the knees splay out to the side. That's been called on your haunches, which is the bits that sit behind your heel up to the back of your knee.
So that's that's a haunch.
I believe.
And would I be wrong in suggesting then that frogs are good puppeteers?
Oh, well, I mean, there's only one famous puppet frog that I can think of. If frogs are good puppeteers, that would mean there was a frog controlling a frog.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever thought about that. And also there'd be a frog controlling a certain Miss Piggy, which would be a very weird world to be in.
That's well, do you know, you say that, but I feel like what a power move from frogs. If frogs were controlling Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy to create the image of frogs that we know, because I think Kermit, and I hope we're allowed to discuss this on without Disney. If you're listening, I'll send the copyright thing to Radio Nonsense at Radio Nonsense Street, Radio Nonsense Land. I'm sure it'll get there. Kermit has done very good for the image of frogs, right? I like frogs. I always think frogs, they've had the frog song. Freddo's great, but Kermit I think is one of the best frogs.
We don't get on. If I'm honest, I mean, he's a banjo player. I'm a violin player. He plays it when basically there's times of happiness. I play mine at times of complaint. So again, we're night and day with two different sides of coins. There was a few moments where things got a little bit heated. He said some things in a very high pitched, squeaky voice. I have my own voice that I think is slightly deeper and more manly, but we argued. It happens.
I'm so sorry to hear.
Creative
that.
differences.
I'm so sorry. Well, and then it comes, I suppose, to, are you angry with Kermit? Are you angry with the frog that controls Kermit?
Oh, yes. I've never even thought about that. Who is the person behind the person? Oh,
yeah, the frog behind the frog. Yeah.
It's kind of like a Russian doll effect of more and more frogs in increasingly larger bodies.
Endless frogs. And at some point in the end, probably a toad, just because of size. It would have to be something of considerable.
Well, I've gone the other way around, you see, because Kermit is, of course, the outer shell of the Russian dog, the big
Yes.
one. And there's a smaller one, and then a smaller and smaller. You got one of those kind of poisoned tree fart, poisoned tree tart frogs at the end. Just this little monster, this little sort of mastermind monster controlling all of these gradually bigger frogs until you get to Kermit, who is,
I
of
can
course,
see
the
that.
king of all frog kind.
Because often we know they look so adorable, but we know they're highly dangerous. So this fits
Yeah.
exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't behind a lot of people, puppets, machines. You know, they can sneak into all sorts of places.
There are quite a few politicians I've seen who have that kind of mouthy thing, that sort of like froggy mouthy thing going on.
Yes,
I think you should be very careful. I think you may be potentially putting yourself in danger, that you may now become a wanted man for your speaking out against the underlying frog kingdom that controls us all. Just be careful.
Yeah, you have to just be very careful not because if I suddenly find myself surrounded by tiny little frogs very angry at me, I've just got to think I mustn't lick their back and I've got to be strong. And as long as I don't lick their back.
I think that's generally good advice for life. Just don't lick back.
don't lick backs. Yeah. I always think that's where they come, like, as a dangerous creature. Like, it makes sense if you don't want something to eat you, because then it would eat your back. But I feel like if I was like, I will destroy you, and now I'm just going to turn around, just lick my back. It's full of deadly toxins. Like, it's quite hard to persuade. They're lucky they don't wear t-shirts. It would be really awkward.
That would be really bad. Or hairy backed.
Yeah.
My dad's got a very hairy back. They, you could be licking all day and not get through to skin on my dad. just like finding one of those boiled sweets you find in the car that's fallen down behind the seat and is covered in fluff. That's what my dad looks like when he takes his top off.
That's almost, I think in a way that's almost worse than the poison. At least you're like, I'm dead. Whereas you'd be like, I've got a mouthful of hair, the scuff thing. Yeah.
Oh dear, I've got old receipts and Well, just be careful. If you ever hear like a ribbit outside your door, do not open it. And just know that I'll be lurking around somewhere near. So just just give me a call and I'll be there to at least like play the violin while they're eating on your body or whatever they do.
Yeah, well, I'd probably complain. So I'd probably say like, I can't believe how poisonous this frog is, and then you'd be there, and I'd feel like it was all right. Yeah. That's perfect. Well, thank you, Paul. Listen, I'm so appreciative that you have the time today to chat with us, despite obviously all the violin playing that does need to be happening at the moment. I've got a question that I really need your help to answer. But before we get there, I'm afraid I do have 2 legally binding admin questions that I have to ask. How do you feel about admin? Are you a big admin fan? Oh, no. You have to play it for yourself. Like you didn't even complain.
I was going to start complaining, and it knew it started playing itself before it even got the words out.
That was really impressive. Wow. You hadn't even that violin knows things, and I'm very wary of it. Well, look, I want to reassure you. I think these admin questions, they're very different. You tackle them how you want. You take your time. If the violin needs to answer any of it, then that's fine. I understand. But the first one, it's very important, this one. This podcast is suitable for people of all ages, every possible age you can imagine, Bronze Age, Ice Age, 407, 36, 2 years old, whatever age you can imagine. It's suitable for them. And I just need to check if there are any rude words you won't be saying in order to keep this show family friendly.
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, and I think, all of us have probably heard this word too much. You heard it spoken in anger, frustration, maybe in pain. And it's just a word that should be taken out of the language because it's just so harmful. So I won't be saying the word nutshell.
Oh, wow, Paul. Do you know what? I was bracing myself for that because of what you were saying about it. And I just thought this is going to be big. I had no idea it was nutshell. And as those words left your mouth, that hurt. That was like a gut punch.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Just when the first bit hits you in the ear, the nut, you get this convulsion that goes down your neck, and your shoulder comes up to your neck. It's starts to almost creep you out, and then the shell hits, and that's the gut punch. That's the bit that really just the nut shell. Oh,
It's horrible.
I can't even say it without getting shivers.
No, I understand that, and I hope that this complaining isn't going to cause the violin to come out. But I do understand, because I think a lot of nuts have a different word in front of them that kind of cushion the blow. So pistachio nut, and by the time you got to the nut, you're like, pistachio, or cashew, like a soft sneeze, and then nut. Peanut. The word pea is funny, and then nut, and so you've always got something but the nut shell is like and what, it's got armor, and you think about it, and it's just going to make eating more difficult.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
Horrible word. And none of your listeners should have to listen to it. So I'm hoping that we've forever exercised that demon, and people can listen now in safety, aware that they never have to have those words in their ears again.
I would not say nutshell on this show, and I'm sure you wouldn't too. And I do have to say, does the violin have exceptions? Because I think one of the worst things in the world, and maybe I'm exaggerating slightly. I'm so wary of the violin hit, Paul. But maybe I think one of the worst things in the world is if you have a pistachio nut and you can't quite crack it open, and I don't know if you do this, and then you use your teeth to crack it open, but then you eat bits of shell, nut shell goes in your mouth, and then you've ruined. I'll stop it. I'm taking it back. I'm so sorry, everyone.
No, it's fine. It's just like me. The violin has feelings.
Sure.
And it's been through things, and it has had to sit through so many nutshell jokes over the years. Okay. So many times when it's been just minding its own business and someone shouted nutshell from a moving car, or heard it on what it thought was a PG-13 film. And then from nowhere, someone bangs their shin on a table. Nutshell!
Yeah.
Poor thing. I mean, it's been through things.
It's sick of it. Yeah, no, I understand that. And, there's that phrase, isn't there? People say, in a nutshell, as though it's to sum everything up. But
thoughtless, isn't it? Yeah, because
really
the thing about in a nutshell is when you're actually using that word, is you're using the word nutshell in a nutshell. And it's like, come on, guys. Just, take it down a notch. Take the volume down from 10 to at least 8.7.
Yeah, I can handle an 8.7 on a good day. Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, Paul, thank you. I think you're right not to say nutshell in the show. As I said, I certainly wouldn't say it. I wouldn't dream of saying it. We're already going to get complaint letters from Disney. So now who else would write it if we would say language like that? So thank you. Thank you for taking that seriously. The other question that I've got for you here, Paul, slightly easier, I hope, this one, but you think about it how you need to. Would you rather, Paul, that the only way you could sleep was in a vat full of jelly, or the only way you could work was while covered entirely in bees?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. And it has to be rather. There's no and. I couldn't do both.
You couldn't do both. Because, not only because I think it'd be really cruel to bees, because they'd all be sort of drowned in jelly, which I think would be...
you're right.
Or bouncing around, wobbling around. And the same way, it would really ruin the jelly if it was full of bees.
Oh, so, you've shown my stupidity here. Yeah, you've just shown that I've really not thought this through. I was just thinking that maybe the bees would enjoy the jelly and be able to kind of just swim and eat their way through it. And then gradually over the years, I'd get less and less jelly. So I'd get less happier, but the bees would get happier. And that would help. Knowing they're happy would help me sleep. Therefore, maybe solving both the issues in once.
That's
in a nutshell.
Nice. What's the... Paul, I can't believe you...
Oh, God, I've done myself, haven't I?
That was... wow, that was... It's all right, I'll edit it out, I'm sure.
Please,
I'm sure
please.
Will not know that you said that then. I wondered, bees... Actually, no, I'm going to show you... I can't remember if they eat pollen, they just look at pollen, they just put it in a filing cabinet, whatever, they stick it to their knees, and if they were to eat jelly, would the honey... Would they...
Mr. and Little Miss are back in Happy Meal, and they're off on a road trip. Your little one can go somewhere exciting with Little Miss Brave, laugh all the way there with Mr. Tickle, or make up an adventure all of their own. On this road trip, anything's possible. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 8th of June from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last, subject to availability.
And produce jelly or honey jelly? Jelly honey?
Yeah, I think it's called Johnny, and basically what Johnny does, it's the same as normal honey, but it's of different colours. So you can get it in green, yellow, blue, all the colours under the rainbow, and it bounces. And
incredible.
What's not to love about that?
Now you've said that, I'm wondering if we need to breach the rules on this, and because now you've said that, and the idea of bees making Johnny instead of honey, I want to try that.
everyone does, and that's why when you said, would you rather, and I'm like, it's impossible. You choose between two impossible things because both sound so incredibly wonderful.
They do.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to do both.
That's fair. I do need to check, what type of jelly would you go for?
Well, we're obviously not allowed to name brands.
Sure,
on
right,
this
sure. Yes.
So, an unnamed British brand that I have enjoyed for many, many years.
I mean, you say you're not, this on this podcast. It's you can. I mean, I suppose if we name a brand, I would assume that they're going to send me 4,000 billion packets of it as a thank you for naming the brand.
with bees in.
With bees in, yeah, that's right. And anything less, then I will spend every episode of this calling them out with some rather rude words, maybe.
Ruining them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. So,
and I'll be lurking around their offices, just
right.
violining every 5 minutes and trying to make any decision.
Yeah, I think you should. This is how you use your powers for. You do use your powers for good, Paul, but for the good of jelly. Okay, well, I have to say, Paul, I've never let anyone have both before, but for your sake, I'm going to do it because I think you've got a really good reason that it's not only good for yourself but good for the bees, which is rare. It's rare to have a solution like that, and I just the journey will happen, and I look forward to it. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Help me sleep at night, knowing the bees are so happy. It's solving both problems.
Yeah, I mean, and I suppose the one thing we didn't consider was if you could only work when you're covered in bees, and your work is primarily playing the violin. I do worry the sound of the bees would drown out the sound of the violin.
Oh, I've got to disagree with you. I think it basically creates a lovely undertone.
Yes.
And then you get the
That's beautiful. Yeah, actually, I can see that. That's like a sort of like a cello or a lower kind of a larger. I hope your violin doesn't get upset with me mentioning other string instruments, but the larger, double bass underneath, a natural double bass from the bees.
It's like a concerto, but a bit better. So more like a concerto. My God.
Oh, that's good. That's wow, concerto. OMG, I like that.
Yeah.
So many bright ideas already on this episode, Paul. And we haven't even got to the main question. I worry the listeners are going to be too enlightened before they've even got to this point. But Paul, we've got this question, and I'm so pleased you're here to help me with this because it's big. And I'm going to read this. There's a lot here, and I'm going to read it all out, but we'll focus in on the important bit. So this person has written in saying Tiernan, and they've put, sorry, Mez, do not know how to spell your name, but they've only spelt it the I and the E the wrong way round, so I'm quite impressed so far. So Tiernan and other person, that's you, Paul. I am 13 ducks old. So Paul, I don't know if you know the duck to human age ratio, but I think that makes them 36. I could be.
That sounds right to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how it works. So Tiernan and other person. I am 13 ducks old, and I has a question. It is, what would happen if you went back in time to the beginning of time and you messed with history and you didn't exist, but you are there at the time you don't exist, but you need to go to the future because you exist in the future? Please read all of this to the other person. I have. And you pronounce my name as Cinema Roll. Bye. And say Cinema Roll fast, but not too fast. So Cinema Roll.
Cinema roll. Cinema roll. Cinema roll. Cinema roll. Cinema roll.
Cinema roll.
Cinema roll.
Cinema roll. So it's Cinema Roll.
Cinema
So
roll.
that's the question there, Paul. What would happen if you went back in time to the beginning of time and you messed with history and you didn't exist, but you're there at the time you don't exist, but you need to go to the future because you exist in the future? Easy.
Well,
right?
that's a brain bender.
Yes.
I think what I would do, I think if past me didn't exist because present me had done something that past me was then wiped from the time stream from, and then I need to go to future me in order to live and make past and present me survive. What I would probably do is get present me to tell past me, present me, I would leave a note for future me to read about what happened to past me so that the future me could go back before the past me met the present me. And it gets a little bit confusing at this point, so you have to bear with me. And then if the future me went back to the past to leave a message for the past and the present me, then the present me would then have a second future me because it would have diverted the time streams. So then
Wow.
there'll be 8 me's. And now we're nearly getting there.
Yeah,
It does get a little bit more confusing because we've got now 4 lots of me twice, which is 8. And then if we have all 8 of me, then I think what we could probably do is form some sort of table. Because I'm assuming what happened is in the past me that got wiped out by the present me from the future probably fell out of the time stream. But if you have a table, you could just put it over that wormhole. We could all sit on the table, and I think everyone will be okay. Although there would then be a potential recurrative thing where there'd be maybe just forever amounts of me around, which wouldn't be good for everyone. So yeah, I don't know. Time's a funny thing.
Yes. My question was, you're all sat around a table. Who's going to make you breakfast?
Well, I'm hoping the bees. In a nutshell,
okay, right,
I'm hoping
sure.
the bees would.
Because there'll also be 8 times
their
as many
Johnny.
bees.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't guarantee that you in other timelines have got the bees to eat the jelly. So they may have got the bees to eat other things, everything from Marmite to cement, you know, and you could end up with a really, really strange breakfast.
But isn't that the beauty of the world, Tiernan? Isn't that what makes us all get up in the morning not knowing if you're getting Johnny or concrete for breakfast?
Yes, that's interesting. That is interesting. I mean, I'm curious to know what because in cinema roll, in their question, they say you messed with history, right? But they don't say what you've done. And
I think we both know. I think we both know what I've done.
Because I feel like there's so many things they say, don't they? There's the butter. If you were to go back in time and you were to a butterfly flapped its wings in the wrong direction, then all of time would be different. But I worry if I went back in time, I'd be so surprised I went back in time, I'd probably fall over something and squish a hedgehog. No, that would be painful for them and me. But, you know, I'd worry I'd do something really big and then I'd come back and everyone's heads would be yogurt pots and we'd be in a very strange...
I've got the opposite fear. I fear that if I went back in time, I'd make no difference.
But that's because you could lurk, Paul. You'd lurk so successfully that no one would know you were there.
I just feel that I insignificant is my middle name, and I think that I don't know enough about science or world events or anything to make any difference. Like, I think I'd just be stuck in the past where everything's a bit worse.
Well, I think, you see, but that's important, I think, because to be able to travel to the past and not mess things up is an incredible skill. I should also say, and, you know, I don't want to disrespect your family, but to call you insignificant as a middle name, I think is very cruel. And sometimes parents do really mean things with middle names. That is quite unfair.
Well, Tim, there is actually a benefit, though, because, of course, I've never actually even said my name out loud until now, but that would make me Paul Insignificant Goodenough, which means my initials would be Pig. And who doesn't want to be a pig? Pig's great.
That's actually magnificent. Yeah, that is magnificent.
Yeah.
Gosh, you'd be like PIG as well, which almost sounds like you're a sort of pig rapper.
Exactly.
You know, you could be the notorious PIG, and I think that would be... Wow, what a life. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. But I do also think that you should not be... I think going back in time and not causing trouble is probably better than being the person who caused everyone to have yogurt pot heads. You know, I think that's... You should be pleased with that.
Although I think it's just through lack of skill. I think I want to do something significant.
You want to mess things up, but you've not.
Yeah, I just don't have any of the abilities necessary.
I like the idea that you were to go back and you could really mess things up by, like, as soon as a dinosaur complained, you'd be there with the violin, and that would change the whole the whole course of history.
Oh, I wonder if, you know, back in the day when the asteroid was coming, with the dinosaurs were complaining, and like, oh, look at that again on a Monday. You've got our washing out, and here comes another asteroid, and I'm then, you know, with the little violin playing away, and then the asteroid sort of breaks open like a nutshell, revealing a smaller asteroid and then a smaller asteroid until it basically just hits one of them on the head like a little Malteser and no dinosaurs die. And then the future is all just big dino land. There's just massive dinosaurs everywhere. Nice. That would be cool.
That would be incredibly cool. I was worried you were going to say inside inside the final comic was a tiny frog. But
Yes.
I'm glad you didn't know. I'm glad you didn't, because yours is a nicer ending than that frog causing havoc, and now us living in a frog-based world.
But I think you've really nailed something there. Maybe that's where the first frogs come from. It explains why they're trying to take over the world. There is no such thing as a frog. They were aliens trapped in multiple nutshells of asteroid that landed in the dinosaur times. And then, of course, in our history, they wiped the dinosaurs out only to replace them.
And
But
Paul, I
in
just
this
have to say,
new
I'm getting
history-
a message coming through. There was just a very aggressive ribbit, and I've been told that I have to end. Paul, I'm not sure we can continue this conversation because that was quite scary. I'm not going to lie. That was quite a scary. Wow. Yeah. Look, Paul. Hey. So, dinosaurs and stuff. That was fun. And I hope Cinema Roll's got their answer. It'd be 8 Pauls around a table. Definitely nothing to do with frogs. Whew, that was wow. Paul, thank you for having time to come on this show. Thank you for having time to come on in between all your violin playing. I was going to ask you what you're up to in the next 6.3 days, 4 hours and 7 seconds. You got much going on?
Oh, is that about a quarter of a duck in terms
so,
of the
yes.
ratio?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
well,
Yes, yeah.
I think in the next quarter of a duck, I'm really hoping to, just spread my wings and not just lurk anymore. I didn't want to tell anyone before, I got a chance to announce it here live on the show. But I'm hoping to go from lurking to feathering myself.
Wow.
And then what I'm going to do is get feathers and a beak, and I'm going to do my continued lurking, but in the guise of a chicken. Now we think of calling it geclerking, like geclerk. That's
Cool.
what I'm planning to do.
I was going to say I wish you all the best. I don't think that's enough. I need to somehow wish you more than all the best for this most incredible. Wow, good clerking, Paul. What a dream, and I hope that happens for you. Thank you very much. I was also going to ask about this incredible book that you're part of, but I was going to ask about your book, but I've noticed that you picked up a cat instead, which also looks brilliant.
This isn't a cat. What are we talking about? It's clearly a frog inside of another frog inside.
Oh,
another
I see. I'm so sorry. Right.
Are you
Well,
mad?
in which case, that frog is doing some excellent puppeteering. The frog inside the frog is one of them is doing brilliant work. But as well as the cat that you just picked up, tell me about the most important comic book on earth, please.
Oh, well, it's a fantastic thing, and one of the things I'm most proud of. So what I did is I worked with some of the most incredible people on the planet. People like Ricky Gervais, Cara Delevingne, Idris Elba, a whole bunch more. Folks that people know from all over the world. And what we did is we created funny, heartwarming, and heartbreaking stories. And we collected it all into one book. And all the sales of that book go to help animals all over the world. Even frogs.
Wow.
Even non-puppeteering frogs get help by it.
That's amazing. That is absolutely fantastic. And it is an incredible, it's a comic book, right? Lots and lots of different, amazingly drawn, fantastically exciting, and as you said, funny, sometimes sad comics. What a brilliant collection of stories. And I'm pretty sure that most of the listeners to the podcast like comics. And so what better reason to grab a comic?
Well, they better do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, they'd be hearing like a little violin creeping around their neighborhoods.
I think that's the best PR you could give. Like, get this, or Paul will be there lurking, good clerking with his violin.
A clerk? Yeah, with my oversized hamstrings and my little frog army.
Thanks, Paul. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Tiernan, and thank you for everything. Had a great time.
Thanks so much to Paul Goodenough for joining me in between all that small violin playing to help answer Cinema Roll's question. You can get the most important comic book on earth in all good bookshops, some neutral ones and a few bad ones as well. And I'm going to pop a link in the podcast blurb for it too. Cinema Roll, I do hope you liked your answer, but if not, why not send any complaints you have into the past before the podcast even happens? And then those complaints will cease to exist because they'll have happened before the podcast even did, and they won't refer to anything, and then I'll never have to read them. If you have a question you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, please ask your old February face, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. Or, comment on the Spotify Q&A, or give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts too. And please also check out comedyclubforkids.co.uk for all of our live shows all over the UK. Stop it! Hang on, those farts had a weird, almost kind of rhythm to them. Let me just get my fart translation app up. It says on the app that they're protesting because for too long I've been using their farting as a comedy device on this podcast, and actually they want to be taken very, very seriously. Oh, I see. But farts are funny, aren't they? They say not these ones. These farts are art. For art. Right. Well, I think there's only one thing for it. I'm going to have to put them all in a sound chamber that's going to make all their farts far more serious. Okay, guys, now try farting. How about you give all of your earphones and then you won't hear me or anyone else laughing at the fart noises? There you go. See, listeners, there's always a way to fix these things so that everyone is happy. That means that sound came from me.
You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. It's the end.
Mr. Men, Little Miss are back in Happy Meal and they're off on a road trip. Your little one can go somewhere exciting with Little Miss Brave, laugh all the way there with Mr. Tickle, or make up an adventure all of their own. On this road trip, anything's possible. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until the 8th of June from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last, subject to availability.